The streets are buzzing. 2-0. New York Knicks. Commanding lead. Back to New York in the NBA Finals, man. I'm exhausted. We're going to live stream. We're going to put in words what we just witnessed, man. The Knicks, I thought we had it won and wrapped up after the gritty second and third quarters, but the San Antonio Spurs did not give up. And the New York Knicks, man, had a fight on their hands down the stretch. But the New York Knicks have 13 straight wins, man, and are breaking records, man, since the Golden State Warriors. Here is the final possession as the Knicks win 105-104, right? Mitchell Robinson gets the switch, stays on Wemby, contests, and New York Knicks get the dub. Man, we're catching our breath. Look at John Starks, Clyde, all of us, man. Let's go. Let's sweep. Sweep is in order, ladies and gentlemen. And what a game, man, as the New York Knicks navigated a tough referee performance, man. Talk about conspiracies abound, but they got it done, man. So many heroes. Johnny Chiba, Dermot's with us. We've got EJ coming through. Shout out to everyone in the building. Jalen Brunson hit or split a couple of free throws, hit a big step back to give the Knicks the lead, or to tie it, actually. But man, the Spurs on a 14-0 run, and I could not believe what I was seeing, man. I thought we were headed back for a split after that, but man, we're due, man. We are due. And this thing is by no means over yet, but take one of the next two and we'll have a chance to wrap it up in Game 6 at Madison Square Garden, or possibly even sweep if we can get Game 3. But let's break it down, what we just witnessed. Wembanyama hit a big shot. Dylan Harper, man, he is coming. He is going to be an unbelievable player. But what a performance from Karl Anthony Towns, and what a performance from Mikal Bridges. Just unbelievable, man. Brunson hurt us a little with the turnovers, but the physicality of the Spurs defense, man, what the referees were allowing was absolutely unbelievable in terms of how the New York Knicks had to deal with an incredible level of physicality, right? And frustrations were abound, right? The Spurs did not want to go 0-2 down, and De'Aaron Fox tried to turn into a tough guy. And I thought, man, the Knicks, that from the technical on Mitch to the foul trouble on Cat, where he picked up 2 fouls in just 17 seconds, man, it was absolute BS. But you know what, man, we got it done, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so proud of our guys, and Karl Anthony Towns, man. Could be a guy who gets the game ball. Maybe there's multiple game balls, man. But our brother, my co-host, is in the chat. Man, EJ, I'm still catching my breath, man. Talk about one of the most cardiac games we'll ever see, and I think we've seen in our lifetime. How do you even put that into words? From being down to getting a huge lead to then giving the lead back up to then winning it with a defensive stop where, like, I don't know how you felt, but I've been confident all game, all day as we've been texting. But on that final inbound with San Antonio, I was fully prepared for some BS, for some
Hmm.
bailout foul call. I was fully prepared for, like, sending them to the line. When Wembanyama rose up, EJ, and just before that inbound, what was going through your mind?
Ooh. Um, there's a lot going through my mind at that particular point. I'll start here. First off, what's up to my boy CT? What's up to all of the buzzers? What's up to everyone who's a Knicks Buzz fan? Smash, like, subscribe to Knicks Buzz. Um, in my day job, I spend a lot of time talking about history. And one of the things that people often forget about history, and I tell students about this all the time, is that we not only learn history, but we're almost always in a moment where history is happening. Either we're in it or we're around it. We are in right now in the basketball universe a moment of history. We are in the epicenter of something that is happening that we've not seen in over a generation at this point, and now for many Knicks fans for over two, maybe three generations. And so tonight's game is one of those games where when you're telling the story of this NBA Finals in 5 years, in 10 years, in 25 years, you're going to say whatever the outcome is, because we're all hoping that the Knicks win, but you're going to come and talk about this game. This game was thrilling, it was exhilarating, it was stressful, it was absolutely stressful. This is the kind of game that we've not had to see for the majority of the playoffs. And I don't know about you, but I left this game. I felt physically tired. I felt emotionally tired. I felt emotionally drained. I felt like I had been running up and down the court for a good 35 minutes. And I think that there are a number of different reasons why that took place tonight. I think that this game is the other reason why I say this is historic is if you've been a Knicks fan for a very long time, which I have had the pleasure of being a Knicks fan, and I wear the orange and the blue so proudly. I love my team. But this is not the kind of game historically we win. This is the kind of game that, as a Knicks fan, you can think back and just think about how many times we've had a game like this emerge, and at the end of the game, something fluky happens. A ref makes a call, a bank shot goes in. Do I need to mention Tyrese Halliburton? A shot goes up and it hits the back of the rim and it goes up 10, 15, 20, 25 feet in the air and it goes through the rim and we're not the ones who are celebrating at the end of it. This is the kind of game that goes into overtime and we lose. And we're devastated because we saw it, we had it in our hands. But tonight was different. And maybe it's because we're in the middle of something historic. CT, what do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like when you play the game the right way, and I'm not trying to talk about put the Spurs on the OKC level in terms of getting the whistle, but I'm more meaning towards the New York Knicks. They just play the game the right way. Jalen Brunson doesn't get into the back and forth, is all business. Next possession, he's stone cold, and he may not have the best game all the time, and he's turned it over a bit, had two inefficient performances, but hits shots when it was needed. And did the Spurs have that experience yet? Did they have the game winner? Did they have the medal yet? You could be praising of their comeback and not quitting, but when the game's on the line, Wembanyama couldn't hit the game winner, and Jalen Brunson's done that a lot more, and I think the New York Knicks deserve their 2-0 lead. Um, Today, I felt like it was a house money game, and I know that's not the best attitude to go into it because you already stole game one, or you deserve game one, and in the eyes of some people, you stole it, and you could talk yourself into being fully content going back to MSG at a 1-1 with a chance to win the series with home court. But you know what? I saw a New York Knicks team today, man, that has embodied what we've been wanting to see for so long in terms of just scrapping, clawing, staying in the game despite going down, despite bad calls. Talk about Landry Shamet stretch that ultimately could have won us the game. What did you think about Mike Brown sitting Brunson and Cat at that end of the third stretch, which was kind of the chaos before the actual late chaos.
I mean, the fact that you just said the chaos before the chaos, this game was exhausting. I didn't even know how to celebrate after the game because I was so spent. It was such an emotional roller coaster. Coach Brown making the decision to sit Cat and Brunson JV for extended time. It embodies, it represents what this particular team is about. Where you do have two superstars on this team, and yes, I just did call Jalen Brunson a superstar. I just did call Cat a superstar. But what's different about this particular team is that there are times where your best two players won't be on the court, and it's actually a net positive. In many ways, and when we start to chronicle and we start to make sense of these playoffs, and we're trying to do it in real time, and and I'm going to try my best to do it as well too. This team is really it has the flavor of a 2000s Detroit Pistons team where it's a workmanlike team. It's a team where every person has a particular role that they're playing, and it's a very next man up, and I will defer to you if you're the person who's doing really well right now. And it's how we talk about positionless basketball. I was just talking to a good friend of mine about positionless basketball. This is almost egoless basketball, and that's a compliment to the coach as well as a compliment to the team itself as well. So, kudos to Mike Brown for making the adjustment, for seeing what was working, sticking with it, and have the temerity, have the audacity to simply say, I'm going to sit my two best players right now, and I appreciate you for doing that. And yeah, Jasmine, you're absolutely right. It was exhausting. I am physically tired from this game. CT, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, got to give all the credit to the Knicks and the Spurs because Spurs did exactly what I thought they were going to do, which was come out with extra physicality. And then, the New York Knicks withstood that. And they didn't have a great game from Brunson. They didn't have a great game from Deuce McBride, which we're going to talk about with some of those turnovers getting caught on the on the pick and rolls and getting blitzed, turnovers. But you know what? It's next man up. Landry Shamet, Jose Alvarado, two decent games in a row. OG Anunoby defensively with the blocks. Look, Hart got into foul trouble, and maybe that flagrant was unlucky. But yeah, Hart still gave you everything, man. He laid it all out there. We don't have a 2-0 lead without all our guys. Um, but this man, I mean, Carl Anthony Towns, for me, is the MVP of the playoffs and this series. I see a lot of people talking about this series, and the playoffs for the New York Knicks, in my opinion, because he changed the way the Knicks play. We know how great Jalen Brunson has been. We know how great Jalen Brunson is going to be. But Carl Anthony Towns, not many people expected, or he was the swing factor in terms of this series, EJ. How would he guard Wemby? All of the foul trouble concerns. I mean, he was hardly done by tonight in terms of 2 fouls in 17 seconds. That changed that ball game. And I was expecting the refs to make it more difficult, but to pull out the win, I mean, the Knicks have got 1.5 hands on the trophy now, in my opinion, and they don't do that if they don't win this one tonight against all odds, you know. And I think if the Knicks go on and win this championship, which I think they're going to do now, we're going to talk about it. I think we'll look at this game tonight. I think this game tonight will be talked about more than game one, and maybe game three and four if we sweep it, or 4 and 5, or whatever may be. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a lot to process. To the first part of your question with regards to like what player and like even talking about Cat, I was having a conversation with someone earlier about this as well, and the difference in the series thus far is Wemby has been Wemby the entire season. Um, but who Cat has been there's been an evolution to his play. And that's the unquantifiables that sometimes that we talked about. And we've talked about this for the last two seasons, how sometimes it's not the trade, sometimes it's not a signing that will put your team over the hump, that will get you to become a championship level contending team. Sometimes it's about internal growth, like who's already on the roster. They themselves grow individually, and because their performance increases, their ceiling grows as well too. And what we've seen in the past month and change, and this is scary, is that Cat, a player who's been in the league for some time now, he's grown. He's grown immensely. He's matured immensely. Like he's not the same player he was at the start of the season in October. He's an entirely different player. And I know that's partly a function of the role that Mike Brown has in playing, but it's also a function of his maturation. And I talk about this all the time, how the psychology of the player is the stuff that we don't get in NBA 2K. And I love 2K. I love playing 2K. But there's something about the mental makeup of a player that you can't account for, but it does show up. It does show up in their play. And we're seeing that with Cat. We're seeing that in his maturation. And we're seeing that in terms of a number of different players. Mikal Bridges' maturation in this particular postseason. Kudos. So I agree with you. Cat could be the MVP of the entire playoffs, but let's not also sell Mikal Bridges short. I mean, love will build a bridge. I mean, and this bridge has been connecting us the entirety of this playoff run.
Yeah, and some people, can connect that to Brunson. As coach says, I hate to be the bad guy, but Brunson shoots way too much. Yeah, and that is what's got us into some trouble at times. And you love Brunson down the stretch, taking the big shots because he hits them most often than not. But what got us in that hole in the first place, yeah, was stagnation. And playing into their hands. But for the most part, I got to praise Brunson for getting off of the ball when they do trap. You know, when they do trap, he was making some crazy reads where Shamit was cutting to try to split the double, and that ball movement play where McCall ended up hitting that big three in the corner with like half a tenth of a second. I think that was in the third, when the Knicks were going on that run, was just an amazing stretch of ball. But yeah, Cat and Bridges get my MVP with OG as a close behind. But I mean, you need everyone in these
Yeah.
moments. Is it just fair to say the Knicks are more experienced team? I think both teams are very evenly matched. But I think what's got the Knicks in this position is their grit. They're able to stay composed in those moments. Don't forget they played both these games on the road.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
they lead
Yes.
2-0. Both these games have been on the road, EJ. You know,
Uh, CT, I'll tell you this. I think the big difference between the Knicks and the Spurs, and this is why, when a national NBA media is doing analysis, you have to be very weary or leery of their analysis because they're only like kind of jumping into a team maybe two or three times a season, and they may not have a real feel for the team. They may not have a real feel for the organization. One of the things that we've seen from these Knicks, from these playoff Knicks, not the regular season Knicks, but these playoff Knicks, is the reason why we're struggling to articulate who's the MVP is because there is a justifiable case for at least four or five, sometimes six players on this squad who've been so who've been so much of a catalyst to us winning a game, winning two games, that they equally deserve that credit. And I think that's the big difference between what's happening with the Knicks right now and the Spurs. Everything seems to be reliant on Wemby for the Spurs. It's almost every conversation, every talking point is about Wemby. What is he going to do? To some extent, there's also Stephon Castle, there's De'Aaron Fox, but so much of the attention is on Wemby, and that's not necessarily what we seem to be seeing with the New York Knicks. In so much as this is Jalen Brunson's team, there's a justifiable argument to say that Cat is really the MVP right now, or that again, let's not discount what OG has been doing. Some of the stuff that he's been doing has not just been the spectacular dunks like the one we're seeing right now on the screen, but also the immense defense that he's playing. He had a couple of major steals, and again, I go back to Mikal Bridges, like his hustle, Landry Shamet. So I think that's what we're really seeing in terms of this team and why we're on the precipice of possibly winning an NBA championship after 53 years. It's because everyone is showing up and stepping up, and it's making it very difficult. And you said this in the text. The Spurs may have thrown their best punches, and they lost both games. They might be in big trouble.
they're in big trouble, man. And with respect to competition, and I know they're a great team, and they can certainly win a game at MSG, but what I'm about to say is I feel like San Antonio, their best chance to win this series was obviously the first two games, not because they're at home, but because they're going to gas out more as the series goes. EJ, hard fought 7 game series, guys, against Oklahoma. The New York Knicks rest, the rust that was talked about. When were they going to be rusty? Well, talk about a way to bury that talk, coming off an 8-day break, winning both games on the road, no matter how you get it. right? Just get him. And man, Madison Square Garden is going to be an absolute zoo right now. Uh, fans, um, streets, buzzing. Um, Unbelievable what we've seen and what we're gonna see moving forward. And look, the most amazing thing that I'm feeling right now is the New York Knicks actually have a chance to not go back to San Antonio. They have a chance to break this championship drought on our home floor, EJ. How special would that be to win it at Madison Square Garden?
I love to talk about like the intestinal fortitude of people when they're in the heat of battle. And, I texted you prematurely, I think with about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter when the lead had exploded to about 14 points, 12 points or something like that. And I said that, is this the moment where we see the will of the San Antonio Spurs really just implode? Maybe I may have been, presumptive with that. It might happen game three. Um, and this is really where, if you're the New York Knicks, and you can see it in their faces, you can see it, for example, with the Malika Andrews interview with Jalen Brunson, where Brunson hasn't done any press, he hasn't done any video, he hasn't shot any footage with the Larry O'Brien trophy. And the reason why is because there's a focus, there's a determination saying this is a mission, we have a job to do. And I think that this is very incredibly personal for so many of the members of the squad. I'm going to say it right now, and I love the New York Liberty, and I've been a Liberty fan since day one. But this is like so personal that I can almost imagine that Jalen Brunson is hearing the voices of people like Becky Hammon and people like Draymond Green and all of the naysayers who've been talking trash. The Mad Dog Russos from 3, 4 years ago talking about why did the Knicks sign Jalen Brunson. There's a lot of fuel in that fire right now, and I don't know if San Antonio has it in them to perform better on the road and to already be down 2-0. It's hard to win a third game when you've had these kind of losses. It starts to creep into your psyche, it starts to creep into your mind, it starts to get at you, starts to gnaw at you. And now you're going to travel. Now you're leaving San Antonio behind. Now you're leaving the comforts of home. There's the big difference. And then I'm going to throw it back to you. New York travels well. You're not getting San Antonio fans in the garden. Good luck.
Absolutely, man. We've earned this, man. I feel proud because we won it by a stop. We won it against all odds with bad refereeing calls, staying focused. We won it because we've got bench players that stepped up, in big moments. EJ, Macau, and our role players, Landry. Like I said, Deuce didn't have a great game, but um, one thing that impressed me and the maturation of this team, EJ, and it was frustrating at times, but they were pushing the pace, right? When Brunson smoked that layup with about 1:30 to go, I think they had the lead, and he could have dribbled that back out, but he attacked the basket because he knew, okay, that might be the best shot before Wemby actually catches up. You know, they were they were stretching Wemby to his limits, and look, Wemby rose to the occasion. But the New York Knicks, I think, played a smart game plan, and without this bad officiating to try to level the game, I really feel like the New York Knicks would have won this a lot earlier. Um, but the Spurs, as I spoke about after game one, their depth is a concern. EJ. You got Harrison Barnes, who I don't even know if he played tonight. Carter Bryant, Luke Cornett got away with that kickball, like the chat said. You guys are on fire, man. All the love, blessings to everyone in the building. I see comments like appreciate that we can be together in these moments and share this
Absolutely.
together because some of us don't have Nick fans in our lives, in our immediate circle. We come together in these moments. And yeah, I'm just so proud of this team. Like, I was confident heading into the series, but to say we're up 2-0 on the road, like, it's just, I'm almost at a loss for words, how they found a
Yes.
way to pull it out, and grit it out, um, especially when things weren't going our way. But I'm really impressed with the way they pushed the pace, and so they should because they've had extra break, and I think that's a smart game plan, EJ. Like heading into the series, you feel like the Knicks are doing what they should be doing, or do you feel like there's something you would like them to do or execute better at?
I mean, when you watch a lot of basketball, and you've listened to a lot of coaches speak, coaches are almost neurotic to the point where they are not just perfectionists, they're absolute perfectionists, where nothing is perfect. I've never seen or heard a basketball coach who has walked out of a game into a press conference and said, "We played perfect basketball." There's always something that needs to be improved. Um, and you're right. Like, I mean, this team has done incredibly well. Um, uh, you know, I can't really say they've played a perfect game thus far. Um, but I would also say tonight is a very difficult game because the Knicks weren't just playing, the five starters from San Antonio. They're also playing against the three refs on the court. So, it's really hard for me to quantify specifically what the Knicks need to improve because tonight's game it was refs so unevenly that it was a very hard game at times to watch because it was frustrating. But nevertheless, to speak to your question, like what are the things that they need to improve? It would be really great if they can get onto like a really hot start at the Garden. Like if you could get to a good 10 to 15 point lead somewhere in the area somewhere by the second quarter, again, I keep on talking about the psychology of basketball players. That's when you really put your foot on the neck of the San Antonio Spurs. So I think that if they can get to a hot start, and the other thing I would say too is like, Jalen, don't fall into the traps that, really hampered us towards the end of the season. Really continue to spread the ball, spread the wealth. Make Wemby have to run. Make him have to run to the perimeter. Make him have to play defense. Because by the time he gets to the third quarter, he'll be gassed. He'll be blown up. So I think those would be the suggestions that I have. And again, like at this point, you're playing with house money. Make Now the Spurs have to win 4 games out of 5. We don't
Say
have to
that
win two. They have
again.
to win. We don't
Say that
listen,
again.
church. We don't have to win 2 games. They have to win 4 games out of 5. That's the way to think about it. Big
Yep.
difference. Big
Uh,
difference. It's entirely different phrasing it that way.
what do they say? Punch first, punch early, and the New York
Mm-hmm.
Knicks, yeah, hit. Um, all the doubters now got the hate that the rival hate watch fans are looking at. They've got to come to a realization now that this New York Knicks team is just bound for championship glory because 13 wins in a row. What more can they do? Winning on the road, winning back-to-back games on the road in the finals, sweeping 2 series in a row, um, being one of the only 3 teams in NBA finals to win the first 2 games on the road. Um, the first team to win 13 straight in the playoffs since the Golden State 17 Warriors. I mean, we're going to be writing more history, as we
Yeah,
see
bro.
Cat. Look at this footage of Cat and his father share this moment together as well. I'm just so happy for Cat to just step up and play the way he was destined to play on the biggest stage as the number one overall pick. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you could talk about he needed this. He needed the pressure of coming to New York City. If Cat was in Minnesota, maybe he would continue to not fulfill his destiny and be the sidekick to Anthony Edwards in a tough conference and just be content, be happy with that. But coming to the New York Knicks, right? It started off a little rocky, but actually, I got to give him mass credit last season because he played well in the playoffs as well. Um,
Yeah.
don't forget he won us
Yeah.
Game 3 in Indiana. Um, we don't get back into that Indiana series without Cat. He had a great game against the Pistons as well. EJ.
Cat. I'll never forget 2010. I believe it was July 9th or July 8th, 2010. when Amari Stoudemire signed with the New York Knicks, and he said, and you can see this on the back headlines of the New York papers. He said the Knicks are back, and that was 2010. It's now 2016, the 2026. It's been 16 years. It's been 16 years since that day that Stat said he stood outside in that suit in front of the Garden with his arms wide open after signing. After it was clear that we weren't getting LeBron, and he said the New York Knicks are back, and it looked like we were back. For a good season and a half, and then we got Carmelo, and then 2, 3 years later, that kind of decrescendoed, and we were lost for a long time. And there is so much to be said, and I don't want to write the 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 end of this book yet. We're almost there. We're almost at the end of the book. You can see the pages. You can feel that you only have a few more pages left, and we'll then write the proper epilogue to this. But one of the most important things about Cat coming to New York is this is not only if we win, knock on wood. Um, this forever changes the perception of the New York Knicks and the national media's mindset. Um, the days of the New York Knicks being the laughing stock, the days of us having to talk about Howard Isley and Shandon Anderson and Ryan Arcidiacono, the days of talking about uh, you know the Derrick Rose, the shell of the form himself, or Emmanuel Mudiay. This does so much, not just to the player, but it does so much to the history and the perception. And this changes who Carl Anthony Towns is. This changes Jalen Brunson. We are almost there. We are almost there where it's not just a championship, it's the cementing of the legacy of this organization.
Yeah, and we know the NBA's been changing for a minute in terms of the three superstar makeup. The 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 Heatles and all of that. Golden State obviously had uh, top heavy talent and a pretty good bench, but I think the Knicks are going to change the blueprint as well, where you don't maybe if you're a big market team, you might not just need to build through the draft, but having a couple of picks is obviously helpful, but you get guys that buy in, come together, and accept their role um, for the real believers. I mean, last season we very much should have been on this stage. I know Indiana deserved to get to where they did because they gave OKC a hell of a scare and that. But let's be real, the Knicks don't choke game one against Indiana. They would have made the finals last year as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah,
I heard
yeah.
Iman Shumpert talk about a dynasty on the Hoop Collective, and they kind of were quick to dismiss. I'm like, look, this is three conference finals in a row for Cat. Um, Knicks get back, let's say next season, it'll be three conference finals in a row, maybe two NBA finals appearances in a span of a few years. Everyone's still around the 30 age, um, not really fearing the East right now. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
we should be expecting this Knicks team, the way Leon built it, to be prime to contend for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I think as long as these guys are under contract, and I see a lot of love for Cat in the chat about extending him. People were
Yeah,
scared about that 57, $63 million deal, EJ, but the salaries are going up. And Carl Anthony Towns is pretty durable, still pretty
yeah,
athletic. The way he's defending, only 30 years old right now, even if the Knicks don't win the championship, which I think they're going to now, you're going to extend Cat, in my opinion. Right? You got to.
bro. I love everything that you said, but there's one thing that you forgot to mention. What's Boston about to do? I
Blow
mean,
it up or change it.
yeah, that's the thing to really think about is that Boston might actually blow it up. And then that changes your window in the East. Because if you really think about it, like depending on what Indiana does in the draft, depending on Tyrese Halliburton's recovery, um, Boston might actually do us a solid and blow it up. I mean, Jalen Brown and this discontent that exists. I was concerned that we would only have a year window and we have to maximize it this year. You never know what might happen. Injuries. This is really like a war of attrition. But Boston and what they've been doing, you never know if Detroit takes a step back. Additionally, like there's another team again that you don't know what they're going to be doing in the offseason. Cleveland, again, and I keep on, every season there's a team like a Cleveland that is supposed to be a good team, but they never quite seem to be able to get over the hump. And so they just have to then destroy it because it's just not working. And in this second apron era, and this is even quite before, a little bit before the second apron era, you saw teams like Milwaukee. Like once you pass that threshold, teams get into this really weird space of do we blow it up now or do we try to extend the window? But by extending the window, we always make these bad financial moves that then land us in this weird space where we can't improve through the draft and we're hard capped to players who are past their prime. And so we're okay during the regular season, but we're not a real threat during the playoffs. I say all of that to say I used all those words to simply say I'm not just excited about the next two games. This we this is great. We're in a great spot right now. And this is what I felt as a teenager in the 90s and what it felt like every single playoff season to like be a viable championship contending team. So this is incredible. This is incredible. I'm speechless right now, even though I just
Yeah.
gave that 3 minute answer.
Two-way players, two-way play. The OG Anunoby trade, I mean, man, that's going to go down as one of the greatest trades in Knicks history. And to put that in perspective, there's a trade better than that, the Karl Anthony Towns trade. Um, just phenomenal moves from Leon, Mikal Bridges trade, obviously, but we gave away picks mostly. We didn't give away a player. And what a performance from Mikal Bridges today. Like, when he was hitting all those shots, he looked so comfortable. And I'm like, man, I know you can flip the switch, but if you can look that comfortable on the road in the NBA Finals with like Brunson on the bench, how come you look shook sometimes during a regular season game? But he's a playoff riser, and he's been to the finals with Phoenix, and he's proven that he can play big games in big moments against Boston last season. But man, Mikal Bridges turned the corner. We can't
Yes.
forget that he's still growing as a player because he's only around 29, 30 as well. Players not necessarily physically, but they grow mentally with
Hmm.
experience, with adversity. Uh, One of the reasons why I always felt this Knicks team could do it is because look at the teams that needed to fail to actually get over the hump. The Celtics, before Tatum and Brown won it, they lost the finals the year earlier. Joker and the Nuggets, they lost to come back and get it done. Giannis needed to lose in the playoffs how many times to understand the moment and get back. The New York Knicks are following suit. They needed to experience that heartbreak for a couple of seasons to to understand, hey, we got to seize this moment, man. No more letdowns. That's why today was so excruciating down the stretch. I'm like, if they let go of this game, we're back to square one again. But a little bit of luck, a little bit of grit, a lot of grit, and we pulled it out. Now we just got to finish the job, EJ. And some people say that's the hardest thing to do, is to shut a team out. But I don't really feel worried right now, the way this team faced everything, all the shots tonight, the referees on the road. But now we get to go back to Madison Square Garden, where the crowd, the frenzy, the young Spurs team, we're going to see how they deal with that now with Wembanyama. Had the turnover in game one when he bounced it off of his foot.
Hmm.
Had the turnover today where he didn't look up and threw it off the back of Vassell and missed the game winner. That's all going to be in his head, and that's good for Wemby.
Yes.
If you're a
Yes.
Spurs fan, understand from a Knicks fan perspective and how much heartbreak we've dealt with. Players got to go through that. They were never meant to come into the league, you know, um, wet behind the ears and dominate from the beginning, right? That's never going to happen. You got to go through that adversity. So that's what I would
Yes.
say.
I have two words for you, Chris Webber. Go back to that championship game in the NCAA and Chris Webber calling, that timeout. Great players have to go through some sort of adversity because it builds their mental fortitude. It builds their ability to slow everything down in a crucial moment. The ball is going to always find Wemby in the final couple of minutes of the game because he is a great player. But for him to elevate his game to be a championship level player, he has to have those moments where he learns how to overcome self doubt. If everything comes easily, you don't have those moments where you don't really know how to channel your inner strength, your inner focus, your inner calm because everything has come so easily. That's not how life is. And I tell my students this all the time. That life is not easy all the time. You have to be challenged. You have to be stretched. You have to be pushed. You have to feel uncomfortable. If everything is comfortable, if everything is room temperature for you, then there is no way for you to actually grow. Uh, and so I think this is part of the learning experience. And like was part of the conversation with the San Antonio Spurs. Did they make it to the finals too quickly? I don't know if if there's a timetable, but there are experiences you have to have because it will test you. And I think this is the big difference between, the Knicks and the Spurs right now. And this is again why, like, I will always shout this man out. Bill Daughtry always talks about like how predictions are fool's gold, because you're basing it often just based upon um, athletic prowess. You're not basing it upon resolve. You're not basing it upon calm. You're not basing it upon slowing down in the big moment. You're not thinking about that. You're just simply thinking about who can jump the highest, who can shoot the best. What the Knicks have proven is they're not the tallest, but they have the resolve.
Yep. And lack of egos, in my opinion. I saw Brian
Hmm.
Windhorst shout this out too, but everyone feel like, oh, the Knicks just stole one, and Cleveland was saying it with Harden and the analytics, and Embiid was saying that they're better than us after one loss, and like you said earlier, EJ, now everyone's got to respect the Knicks no matter what as a real threat. Um, how many times do they come from behind? How many times do they win on the road? How many times do they execute late to snatch your heart out? Now, the Knicks are the most clutch team in the league. Like, there's just no
Yeah.
argument, point blank, right? To win 13 straight in the playoffs, right? What did they say as well? That the championship ran through the West. Well,
Hmm.
the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, as we sit here right now talking about it, they ran through the West lounge with their sneakers on, muddy sneakers, put their feet put their feet up on your coffee table, ate all of your food, and left without giving a tip. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we ran through the West. What are they going to say right now?
That is hilarious. You just gave me Charlie Murphy as Rick James with the muddy boots on the couch with the dirt and snow and grime, and just simply the Knicks are just wiping their feet, not just even on the rug outside. They are on the white couch, just everything on the couch, just like. And you know the line. If you remember the Chappelle show, you remember the line. I can't say because it's a family show, but the line when he's on the couch and what he says. That is what the Knicks are saying right now to the league. But I will also add what's amazing about this run, because here's the thing, like, we all know how this media ecosystem works. There's this like Knicks for clicks phenomenon. The NBA knows this, ESPN knows this, YouTube knows this. The algorithm is based upon this. Everyone likes to like click, have the Knicks for clicks, the rage bait. The way the Knicks are winning right now, the way that the Knicks have run through this playoffs, that might actually kill the entire Knicks for click industry, because the Knicks for click industry is based upon mocking the Knicks, making fun of them, this idea of their incompetence, that Jalen Brunson isn't really a superstar, that Cat, he's not really the other level of being a championship contender. Oh, Mikel, five picks for what? And the other part of it also too was this idea of the West always being dominant. The fact that the Knicks had no shot, you had a great run through the East, but the fact that the Knicks are winning the way that they are, and that they're entering into the, I'm sorry, they've entered the echelon of teams that are historic. In the words of Birdman at the Breakfast Club, put some respect on our names.
On our names, fam. Culture changes. Jalen Brunson, Hart, Cat, just winners. Guys that have won their whole life, whole career. And even though Cat didn't have a lot of success in Minnesota, he's used to been playing winning basketball most of his life. Macau, Hart. You assemble a group of winners, eventually you're going to win. You know, eventually you're going to find a way. You're going to win. As we see this late turnover, and look, players make mistakes. Wembanyama's going to have to deal with this, but he could say to himself, "Hey, I had the chance to win the game. Still, you know, the game could have ended with me with the game winner." And he had a very, very good look. But shout out to Mitchell Robinson. Shout out to Mitch for the great contest. But the Knicks were just wearing him down as he didn't like this box out from Jose Alvarado. I mean, Spurs, the fact that the Knicks didn't even get to the bonus or get foul shots until, was it like the third quarter, was just late in the third, was just
Fourth,
preposterous. Fourth.
fourth. It was. I mean, if you take a look at this play again, like this was my frustration the entire night. I was texting people all night. I've been texting people during the show because of this. Like everyone's been hitting on my phone. I mean, the way that Wemby was able to really push off on almost every play where there was a screen, where there was a pin down, he basically pushed off the majority of the night, and there were no calls. There were several times I think Shaman was pushed to the ground. I think Brunson was pushed to the ground. This game was so poorly officiated for an NBA Finals game. It was herky jerky. There was no real flow to the game. Um, it was very clear that there were times where the refs did not want to make a call. The fact that they missed several calls, the fact that, for example, Brunson and the backcourt, that was a failed call. The fact that they missed the OG 3-point shot and that being a foul. There were just so many like
The Deuce
opportunities where
backcourt that wasn't a
the deuce
backcourt.
that wasn't a backcourt. It was just what is happening here in terms of this being so horribly officiated. The fact that they had no control really over the amount of physicality, uh, that was reprehensible. Again, this is. I enjoyed what you said in terms of the Spurs throwing their best punch and benefiting simultaneously, benefiting from the refs calling a really bad game. So much so that the Knicks took how many free throws in the second half, and they were still able to win.
You said it, guys. We're riding high. Some of us in disbelief, some of us feeling relief, joy, emotions abound, right? But one thing that we need to highlight is that the Knicks fan base has taken center stage, man, worldwide. Um, we've been rocking with this team, the best fan base, the most loyal fan base, and we've had two great chances in the finals previously, but due to injuries, due to heartbreak, couldn't quite get it done. But now it feels like destiny, where things cleared up. There was talk in the off season, Boston were missing Tatum, Halliburton's out, all of that. But the New York Knicks have stood on business no matter what. They've swept their way through two series. They're 13 in a row. The only two games they've lost in the playoffs were by 2 points combined. Let that sink in. So
Say that
theoretically,
again. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
the only two losses in the last 15 games were by 2 points combined, right? We could be talking about a 15-game winning streak, and we might still be, and I think we probably will be, on the way to an NBA championship. There'll probably be a sec. We're going to talk about how many banners the Knicks could hang up now. because there could be another banner saying 15-0, 15 straight in the playoffs, because I don't know what the Golden State Warriors did. I know we're tied with the 13 in a row since the 17 Warriors, but
Yeah.
the Knicks are obviously going to hang the conference banner, the championship if we get it done, NBA Cup might be thrown in there as well, and we might be ending a few curses as well, EJ, because there'll be the Patrick Ewing curse, um,
Yeah.
James Dolan curse,
Yeah.
um, whatever else. It's just been just an unbelievable run, and we had to go through that adversity, I think, to get to where we are, to figure things out. Now, earlier today, for the first time, EJ, I heard that Patrick Ewing spoke to the team after the
Mm,
Game 3 loss to Atlanta. Right. So there was a lot of talk about Karl Anthony Towns and going to Mike Brown and the coaches making tough decisions, but the fact that we're seeing John Starks, Patrick Ewing ride or die with this team and
yes.
actually having an impact is
Yes.
just it's poetic, isn't it?
Yes. Listen, like I said, I'm a person who loves history. I believe in the power of teaching history honestly. There is something that, and again, like I wasn't, I'm not necessarily a huge James Dolan fan. I shouldn't have said that. I will never get into the Garden ever again now because I said that. But he's had a bit of a renaissance. And notice I said a bit. I didn't say 100%, but a bit. In part because for whatever reason, the Garden was able to understand the power of its own history and to tap into that history. There is there's no more beautiful sight than to see former Knicks players under the basket rooting on current Knicks players. There are very few teams and organizations that can tap into such a rich history and to line up all of those players. Obviously not all of them were superstars. You have your Patricks, you have your Clydes, but to be able to bring back the memorable players as well too. Like your favorite player during the lean years, right? So like seeing, for example, and Othello Harrington, who I had the pleasure of meeting, and being able to line it up one after another. And here's the thing: to be able to have perhaps the greatest Knicks player in team history, to be able to talk to you when you're down and to give you that wisdom. And for the other possible greatest Knicks player in Walt Clyde Frazier to also be there and to show you the rings. I'm just going to say it now. I was going to save this for like if we win the championship. I need someone. I need someone who's a graphic designer, but you got to give me the credit for this, to have an image of Jalen, Patrick, and Clyde as a trinity, bridging three different generations of Knicks together. Because that is just beautiful. Like, very few organizations can do that. The Celtics can do that, the Lakers can do that, and it's the Knicks who are doing it. So it's a very powerful image, and I'm not surprised it had an impact because it's a very different culture. Knicks tape for life.
Yeah, fact. We might not always had winning culture, but we have a strong culture. Look at the players we're celebrating. So Jeremy Lin is going to be present in Game 3, Game 4. He's talked to the New York Post saying it's going to be the first time as a spectator that he's ever going to be back at Madison Square Garden in 14 years, not as a pro player, visiting player, but for the first time he's going to be a guest. And the Knicks organization's been trying to get him involved for a minute. This is a guy who had a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Shumpert, J.R.
yeah,
Smith. The
yeah.
parade is going to be insane. They're after
Oh
they're
my gosh.
celebrating all the players on maybe the open top bus. They're probably going to let all the former players that never won the ring. They're going to get them on
Yes,
stage and let
yes,
them lift the trophy and all of that, and probably get a unique jacket and all of that.
I'm unapologetic. I'm gonna cry if I'm unapologetic about it. To see my favorite basketball player, if it happens, to see if Patrick Ewing gets to go down the Canyon of Heroes, and he didn't play, but to be able to actually have that experience. And I'm sorry, like I wanted Patrick to get his ring. This to me is the equivalent of Patrick getting his ring if it happens, because he never had this cast of characters. He never had this level of support. He never had this organizational clarity and communication and this synergy that happened. I'm sorry, like to me, to see Patrick, to see Clyde, to see Starks, to see Allen Houston, to see Latrell Sprewell, and there's one more thing. Like I gotta say this. Like I really gotta say this. The other reason why you know this is really special is because Shump won championships other places. How many? Larry Johnson was not originally a Knick. He was a Charlotte Hornet. But there's something. Steph Marbury, like, maybe had his best seasons as a Phoenix Sun and New Jersey Net. But there's something about the culture that makes these guys say, I know I played other places, but I'm a Knick. And that's the thing that, people who are now joining the bandwagon, they'll never really understand. They weren't there for the lean years. They weren't there for how many times we were made fun of. I've been made fun of in my own family, by family members, my brother, about being a Knicks fan. But guess what? This feels so great right now. And this is the reward for waiting not one, not two, not three, not four, LeBron, but 53 years. This is the reward of fandom and real fandom.
We celebrate, we celebrate regular season wins like they mean more. That's what impresses opposing players, and we've done it for so long. I remember New York Knicks Washington Wizards preseason game where Mike Breen and Clyde, it was like going crazy, and like that was when we had a semi okay team, So everyone just feel like, I feel like that, coming to America, I don't know what to do, bow or break dance.
All right, Cleo.
Yeah, I feel like Cleo McDowell, you know. Do we break dance or what?
Oh, that's a great pull. That's a great reference. I love that. Favorite movie of mine, by the way.
Yeah,
I would start
facts.
singing "To Be Loved." I would start singing "To Be Loved," but I don't want us to be demonetized.
We got Mitch at the podium saying, in my mind, I would just like defend without fouling. So it's smart, man. Um, Good maturation from Mitchell Robinson. Smart without fouling. Um,
Hey, let's. M Drake has a comment. And by the way, Buzzer, I saw you. What's up, Buzzer? It's good to see you. Thank you so much for the love. And Johnny Chiba, I saw you as well too. Thank you for the shout out. M Drake has a comment that we definitely got to hit at some point. And yeah, it's definitely like really sad because like I do think about this from time to time. Charles Oakley, that is the guy that
yeah,
if you know the '90s Knicks, if you know '94, if you know the song, we are the New York Knicks, the Go New York song. Like he featured prominently in the '94, '95 video. So um, that's the one thing that we have to make peace, and I think that there's a part of it where both sides have to be the bigger people. But like, yeah, like it's really hard to really celebrate and to not see Oakley part of this. I'm not necessarily saying he works for the Garden, but you know, if we win, Anthony Mason can't be there, you know? So there's something special about let's just heal whatever needs to be healed so that we get to celebrate this with the generations of Knicks players that we grew up loving and supporting, and that we still rock their numbers. Like we still wear their numbers. I still have a 33 here in my house. Um, but like, there's something that would be really special if and when the Knicks clinch this, um, that we shouldn't take for granted. And so, like, can we just get Oakley as part of this as well too?
Man, let's see. Time may heal all wounds. Yeah, looks like we're having some difficulties on the YouTube side. Um, yeah, they may have got our NBA may have got us for some copyrights on some of the videos, but usually it reboots back up. So hopefully that comes back up.
I
If
thought it was
not,
because I was
man,
gonna sing "To Be Loved."
yeah.
I'll start
If
singing
not,
it now. Then, all right.
if not, man, maybe the best way to go out and just enjoy the rest of the evening. Um, don't really know what else more to say. You know, yeah, Monday is going to be amazing at MSG. Oh, actually, we're back. You know what? Thank the heavens, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Can you let us know in the chat?
Yes.
Yes, Glenn Jones says we back. Yeah, the powers that
Dope.
be
Dope.
got us back, ladies and gentlemen. EJ, we're about to sign off. They got us for some copyright footage. The NBA does that in terms of certain videos. They copyright and whatnot. So we'll be careful with that. But great to have everyone with us, man, and what this means to us being two up on the road. We're stone cold killers right now, EJ, like road
Correct.
warriors. But you're in the city, man. Just take me through, guys. What's it like in the city now? What's it gonna be like after the weekend is over and we get NBA
It's
Finals ball in New York City? And
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be real crazy. I know I cut you off right there, but like, I can just tell you right now, it's gonna be crazy. Um, and it's happening at a real interesting time in New York City, where there's already a lot of stuff happening in New York City. For example, the World Cup is right around the corner. Um, and so it's already bedlam. Like, getting to Midtown is already crazy. Um, Everyone is rocking orange and blue. Um, I'm talking about people who I didn't know knew what the colors orange and blue were. I'm talking about people who I didn't think knew that orange and blue could match. But the one thing that is very true, and I've actually heard this from, Han LaGreca, Han, Don, and Rosenberg on ESPN Radio, is that the Knicks are the one team in New York City, the one professional organization in New York City that unites every single borough. In football, it's the Jets and the Giants. You have a division. In hockey, you have the Rangers and the Islanders. You have a division. In baseball, you have Mets and Yankees. You have a division right there. But the Brooklyn Nets are, I mean, the most basketball fans in New York City are New York Knicks fans. And so what I've seen thus far is that there's been a reemergence of, you know, people who became jaded, people who were passive Knicks fans, people who would occasionally check in. Now everyone seems to be diehard. And I think that it'll be good for basketball in New York City in the long run. It'll be good not just for basketball in New York City. It'll be good for kids playing basketball. Think about like how Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, how that was good for the NBA. I think the New York Knicks being this good in New York City will do wonders for basketball. It'll revitalize basketball in New York City. It'll be good, for example, for St. John's. It'll be good for the New York Liberty because once we get off the high of possibly winning an NBA championship, that desire to see more basketball doesn't dissipate. It just has to go and be exercised and channeled elsewhere. So it'll go to the New York Liberty. It'll go to St. John's University. It'll go to the Fordham Rams. It'll go to Stony Brook. Um, it'll go to all of these different places. It'll go to high school basketball as well. And so I'm really excited for what's happening in New York City. And one more quick thing. Listen, don't be mad at your friend who becomes a fake Knicks fan. Those of us who are real Knicks fans, you just have to know that we have the actual scars of the many, many years of rooting for a team and people making fun of us. But this is what success looks like. Success looks like people wanted to join in after all the hard work has been done. So, again, this is a good time. Shout out to Old 28 representing Queens. We love Queens in here, all right? 718 all day. Stand up.
Represent all the boroughs and appreciate the love. We got AJ in Brooklyn as well. Johnny Chiba talking about family, repping orange and blue, linking up as well. Everyone else, Glenn Jones at the watch party tonight. Shout out. Yeah, it's just going to be amazing. And I feel like one team this ain't good for is the Brooklyn Nets. you know, not that it even
Who?
mattered because the Knicks had
Who?
already got to this summit, the absolute summit of basketball worldwide. You know, 2 wins away from calling themselves world champions, man. The New York Knicks breaking the Ewing curse. I want to bring up this graphic too of John Starks and all them in the crowd because the look on John Starks' face, man, he looks like he's wearing the burden and the pressure of every Knicks fan. Here we go. Look at the look
Yeah,
on John
yeah,
Starks' face. Like Patrick as well, he's riding every single possession on the road. We're
yes,
taking over buildings on the West
yes.
Coast in the finals. Like $600 a ticket, I heard. But Madison Square Garden's going to cost you 10 bands.
Bro, I can't even afford to walk by Madison Square Garden.
You know what? That's
It's
okay because
ridiculous.
everyone's going to get to celebrate at the parade. Everyone's going to have a
Oh,
street
listen,
party. Everyone's going to be
parades
linking
gonna be
up in
ridiculous.
the summer. It's going to be wild. I mean, we're only weeks away from the draft and summer league and free agency and all that. So it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Like you said, I'm looking forward to not just right now, but the future in terms of what lies ahead. And with Cat and Bronson linking up, like we talked all season about why those two didn't play off each other better. It took Mike Brown coming in, Chris Gent, the coaching staff. It took a bit of sacrifice from Brunson, um, some more point guards in terms of the role players, but we finally fulfilled this situation with the team, the makeup, and all the moves, coming, together as well. The floor spacing. I mean, I saw a stat where like +9 in the finals with all the starters with Landry Shamet. You know, we can play so
It's
many different
amazing.
ways.
And Jordan Carson didn't play tonight either. So I mean, there are resources, there are weapons that were not used tonight. And that's really the strength of this organization right now is that we have weapons that can be used, matchups that can happen one night but not happen the next. It's a really, you mentioned this earlier. It's a different blueprint for the NBA, and for years. I mean, this goes back like 3 4 years when we first started the journey together here with Knicks Buzz. We were talking about how the big three concept outside of the Heatles and Golden State, it's a failed concept for most teams. And so even the Knicks had to really struggle and fail at trying to acquire KD and Kyrie and hope that they landed that number one ping pong ball to get Zion. And then something clicked where they realized this is not the way we're going to actually succeed. We have to build this very differently. And to see that and to see the Knicks be not just successful, and this is really something else that we're going to applaud at the end of the season. But the Knicks might be the architects of a different way of winning as a team, a different way of building a team and winning. Our Knicks have created another way of being successful, of building a team, not by drafting, not by drafting your starting five, but making smart deals and being really good at the cap. And Who who would have thought? Who would have thought this would be us? And we're now 2 games away from winning the 2025-2026 NBA championship. I'm speechless.
Again, I keep telling people experience matters, you know? Experience matters. You got to stumble and bumble and fail to get to this summit. Like you don't just put a young team together and get there. This league is too good. There's too many GMs and great players coming together to play with each other on great teams. That's why I think the Rockets are still, are not able to do it. The Nuggets are kind of had to go through that, but now they're over the hill. Now they're a little too old, you know. Warriors the same. They're a little too old. OKC hit their prime and they ran into another really good team with some experience, but the Spurs they're gonna be around, man. They're gonna be playing in many, many
Oh yeah.
finals. So
Oh yeah.
not too concerned about their fans and what they're gonna get because they hit the jackpot with the NBA draft. But the Knicks are gonna be a thorn in their side.
Yeah.
And I'm not really worried about, the depth, losing Shamit, maybe Deuce, and we've got a great front office, a smart group of guys that I think will find ways. And I think next season, Tyler Kolek could take on more minutes. We'll see if some other young guys can step up. Diawara, maybe Dardier, maybe another draft pick that comes through. I think you extend the core. Hart will have a player option in 2 more years, a team option in 2 more years. Mitch is the one where I guess it's the
Yeah.
big domino. He's unrestricted. I guess it might help the Knicks that he hasn't had an amazing fat playoffs or an amazing finals run. Hurt his hand as well. Maybe he'll feel like him and the Knicks can come to some kind of agreement. But they'll become immortal. Like they'll be forever immortalized on this team, right down to Jordan Clarkson, who I know is polarizing, and I actually didn't even realize he didn't play until
Yeah.
EJ brought it up. Like this game was just so hectic that I just did not even realize Clarkson, who's a San Antonio native, didn't get in. Want to read out the super chat from Johnny Chiba.
Defense wins chips. Wingstop is best 3 and D in the NBA. Absolutely. Absolutely, John Chiba. Thank you so much for the super chat. Um, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we were hoping for when we got, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. And the fact that we got them to contend with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. And now, and this is like, we're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk about this. Now, Boston will have to find a way to contend with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and build against us as opposed to us responding to them. Fascinating how the league turns.
Yep. I think Mikal Bridges coming of age. Cat. I know two guys Johnny Chiba's been higher praise for as well. Um, Turning it around. I mean, what a happy ending, a story. But two more to go. We're not getting too ahead of ourselves yet, but I feel like once the Knicks can win game 3, then we can really start popping bottles, I think. Now, I know 2-0, like you said, they've got to win 4 out of 5, and that's very, very unlikely. But things can change. If they win game 3, things can then put the pressure back on game 4. So, in the words of Kobe, the job ain't done, EJ. Um,
Nah,
Sell all out with the home crowd, the adrenaline, win game 3, and then I think you can kind of put your feet up as well. So, yeah, take us out.
2 games. 2 games. 2 games. Two, 2, 2 games can make up for 99. 2 games can make up for 94. 2 games can make up for Amari not making it all the way through. 2 games can make up for Carmelo. 2 games can make up for Jeremy Lin. 2 games can make up for Phil Jackson in the triangle offense. 2 games can make up for the 80s. 2 games can make up for the fact that Patrick and Bernard never had a chance to really play together. 2 games can make up for the fact that we traded Patrick into Seattle. 2 games can make up for the fact that Kristaps Porzingis demanded his way out of town. 2 games can unite 70, 71, and 73. 2 games.
Well, it's so final. It feels in grasp, man, and history was meant to be broken, in the words of what
Yeah.
you just said. And like buzzer beater for life. Salute says the cup and the chip in the same year. Yes, that was the other banner that I couldn't, the other curse that I couldn't think of. So we could hang 3 banners and we could break 3 curses in one year, winning the cup and the chip, James Dolan curse, Patrick Ewing curse, and all of that. And a lot of good juju coming in since Brunson has come in. Carl Anthony Towns, man, what an honest, good person Cat is, paying homage, um, fulfilling his prophecy. And look, Brunson hasn't had 2 good games. If Cat has good game in game 3, game 4, and they win, are you of the mindset that Carl Anthony Towns would win Finals MVP?
I'm of the mind like they can give the MVP to like the ball boy as long as we win. Listen, 2 games will get us to overcome Andrea Bargnani. 2 games. 2 games. Ron Baker. 2 games. Alec Burks. 2 games. 2 games. 2 games. Not drafting Donovan Mitchell. 2 games. 2 games. That's that. 2 games will make us forget that we were this close to drafting Steph. 2 games. Listen, give it both to JB, give it both to Cat. But all I know is 2 games. Alfred Payton, Frederick Weiss, 2 games. 2 games. 2 games. 2 games will overcome 2 for 19.
Kevin
That
Knox,
Kevin
David
Knox the second.
Fisdale.
Let's go back. Kevin Knox the second. You see the power of two right there? Dos, entre dos. 2 games will overcome Kevin Knox the second.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 2 games. Frank Ntilikina.
Alexei Shved,
Two
Howard
games.
Isley, Shandon
Two
Anderson,
games. 2 games.
Frankie Nitt,
2 games. Mario Hazonia.
Jeremy Lin is going to be in the building for Game 3. I wonder what kind of pop he's going to get when he gets on the jumbo.
2 games. DSJ. 2 games. 2 games. The Randall Handle.
Oh, Randall Handle. How do you think? And I've seen
Two.
this in the chat. How do you think likes of like Precious, Chua, Tibbs, Cam Payne got to be feeling, man? They they rode it all almost to the very end, but the new guys helped us get over the top. You know.
I think the person who's going to be most heartbroken. 2 people. Oh, buzzer. 2 games. Kurt Rambis.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Derek Fisher.
Kenny the
All right.
Animal Bannister.
Oh gosh. Really quickly to your question. I think the 2 people I feel the most for would be Tom Thibodeau and Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh yeah, man. How could I forget? Because
Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't
that's gonna
mention
be rough.
Isaiah Hartenstein because I haven't got no
No, no,
love for
no,
him based on what
no,
he said recently.
no. I'm good.
Yeah, he sold out, got his chip,
Yeah,
but they didn't even get back. We
no,
did it without
I'm good.
him. That's what's even
Yes,
great. So that move to pivot to get Cat was the right thing,
yes,
and maybe we don't get Cat if Isaiah stays.
yeah. Oh, by the way, CT, 2 games. Chris Smith.
Oh, Chris Smith.
J.R. Smith's
Wow,
brother. Yeah,
wow.
2 games.
Well, with that note, man, let's get it done, man. MSG is going to be live and popping. It's going to be lit, right? We don't even got to go back to the Alamo, right? This ain't 99 no more, Spurs fans, where you got Duncan and Robinson and an injured New York Knicks. We are the beast of the East, and we're rolling through your lounge out west with our muddy feet, muddy boots, right? Eating all your food. We're trying on all your clothes as well. So your clothes are going to smell of BO after you get home, right? Um, your your water's going to be running when you get back in your bathroom. The back door is going to be left open. The dog got let out. You know, right?
We're unhinged tonight. I'm sorry. This
We
is the most unhinged we've ever been.
we left the lights on as
That's
well,
right.
right?
That's right.
And we headed all the way back home, ladies and gentlemen, for home cooking. The city is going to be absolutely lit. I only hope that they can just control their adrenaline, their emotion, because Alvarado and all tempers are going to be flaring, man. We can't,
Oh
we,
yeah,
we
we saw it
we
tonight.
can't, we can't be getting no suspensions, EJ.
Yeah,
You know what Wemby's going to try to do now? He's going to call on the hit.
yeah.
You
Well, that's
know,
what they have to do. That's what they have to do. You saw a little bit of it tonight with De'Aaron Fox and the way he played Brunson, and they were very physical tonight. They're excessively physical. I do know that the crew that is going to referee Monday night's game will be much better than Tony Brothers and the rest of the clown show that performed tonight. But yeah, the pressure's going to be all on San Antonio. And again, two games, two games, two games, and it's freedom. Two games, two games. Again, uh, two
two
games.
wins. I want to sweep now. Now that we've got the two on the
Yeah,
road, like to sweep 3 series in a row, no one can deny us. It'd be one of the greatest championships and playoff runs of all time, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get the job done. Stay blessed, stay safe, celebrate. CT and EJ will be right here, right, when we win this championship to celebrate and break it all down, everyone. Peace.